Here's some good news for Pop-Up Tuesday. The Department of Homeland Security has now extended temporary protected status for not only Honduras, but they have also extended it for El Salvador, Haiti, Nepal, Nicaragua, and Sudan until October 4th, 2021, which is an absolute reversal. Everybody thought TPS would have ended as of December this month for everybody on that list. Apparently, the Department of Homeland Security and the Trump administration had an about-face, most likely because Chad Wolf, who is running the Department of Homeland Security, doesn't have the authority to end it, according to federal courts, because he was never confirmed by the U.S. Senate. So TPS is going to continue through the Biden administration for all of these countries: Honduras, El Salvador, Haiti, Nepal, Nicaragua, Sudan, at least until October 4th, 2021. And we'll see what Joe Biden does, but I'm sure he will be a bit more humanitarian than the big baby.
Right.
There's so much
baby man
in those countries. I have a very close friend who has a lot of family in Honduras, and it's really sad what's happening there right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Meanwhile, today is the last day that the big baby can try to legally overturn the election results. It's Safe Harbor Day, December 8th. Not Pearl Harbor Day, but Safe Harbor Day. And Safe Harbor Day, today is the day in which courts can intervene in particular state elections for the President of the United States or any federal election and try to overturn the results if something was done illegally. Trump and his elite team of Rudy Giuliani and crew were unable to convince a court that anything was done illegal, that there were fraudulent votes that would have swayed the election. Today will come and go, and Biden will still be the winner. You know, I guess ironically, on the last day of the safe harbor, Trump's legal team is not in court, but in the hospital. Giuliani, they're in the wrong professional building right now. Rudy Giuliani caught COVID and is in Georgetown University Hospital. And I just read that one of his associates who was assisting him on the Trump elite task force legal team, strike force, I think they called it, the elite strike force, which didn't get too far. One of his associates also contracted COVID and is also out for the count. But, you know, obviously we wish them well and don't want anybody to be sick or die. You know, we just don't like their policies, but we don't want them dead. That's my opinion.
Right. I do want them to learn a little lesson.
Don't wish anybody to die. I would never do that.
No,
Right.
we don't want them to die,
Right.
but I do want them to learn a little lesson.
Yeah. But isn't that quite ironic that they're in the wrong professional building today?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Trump is still not giving up. He's calling the Georgia governor to try to pressure him to overturn the win in Georgia. But the reality is today is Safe Harbor Day. And you want to know what's interesting about this entire thing? Do you know who saved the election for democracy?
Who?
The Republicans, but the Republicans who were state appointees or state legislators or state elected officials. They saved democracy for everybody, because the federal elected officials who are Republican are all getting behind Trump saying it's a fraud, it's a fraud, it's a fraud, when there was no fraud. But if you look at the governor of Georgia, Republican, who Trump tried to overturn the elections, the Secretary of State of Georgia, Republican, some of the electors in Michigan and Wisconsin, Republican judges who said basically who Trump, and one who even Trump appointed, all saying that there was no fraud. The only ones yelling fraud are the celebrity news people on Fox, if that's what we want to call them,
Right.
and the Republican senators and Donald Trump and most of the Republican House of Representatives. Nobody really else. But they've convinced about 35% of America that there was a fraud. Without
35%?
Yeah, approximately, without any evidence whatsoever. But who saved the day were the state Republican elected officials who actually followed the law and said, there's nothing here to overturn. Because you want to know the reality. The ones who would be breaking the law, yeah, you can argue and yell and scream, there's a fraud, there's a fraud, there's a fraud. Okay? But when you're asked to actually break the law, when you're actually asked to break the law, that's something completely different. That's like, like if, you root for Robin Hood. Robin Hood stole from the rich, gave to the poor, and you root him on, go Robin Hood, go Robin Hood. You're just rooting him on. But if you're actually Robin Hood, you're breaking the law. So it's a lot easier to root for Robin Hood than to actually be Robin Hood.
Integrity.
What?
Just a little integrity.
Right, exactly. So there is a little integrity still. Joe Biden is expected to nominate California Attorney General Xavier Becerra for Secretary of Health and Human Services and Harvard professor and infectious disease specialist Dr. Rochelle Walensky to lead the Centers for Disease Control. These are the two most prominent positions that are going to oversee. You're going to hear a lot about these people in the next 100 days because they're the ones who are going to lead the rollout of everybody taking the vaccine that is given out by Pfizer. By the way, the FDA has set up for later this week a final vote to roll out the Pfizer vaccine. They came out today and a press release that said that they have reviewed, the Centers for Disease Control and the FDA have reviewed all the findings by Pfizer, and it looks like it's going to be a go. What we learned a little bit, though, is that approximately, a large, I don't know what the number was, I don't remember, but a large minority of the people who took the vaccine in the trial did get some sort of reaction, whether it was a spike in a fever, soreness, headache. And what they're saying is that you have to take the vaccine twice, once and then 21 days later. It's not 28 days later, it's 21 days later. And on the second shot, you got to be aware that a large minority of people didn't feel well for about 24 hours. But none of them got COVID. It's just a reaction by the body trying to fight off what they injected into your body, but what they injected into your body is actually causing the body to fight off all the other infections as well. So if you take it, and by the way, the people who are more likely to feel muscle aches and headaches and to spike a fever for a very short period of time were younger people, not older people, interestingly.
Oh, really?
Yes. But what they also said was that they saw the same reactions across the board in terms of the ability of the vaccine to ward off coronavirus. It didn't really matter whether you were older or younger. It didn't matter what your ethnicity was or what area you were living in. People reacted similarly across the board, depending on age, race, and geography. So the vaccine works on everybody, at least according to the FDA and the CDC. There was nobody, people who are fat, people who are thin, people who are tall, people who are short, people who are black, Hispanic, Asian, white. Didn't matter whether you live south, north, east, west. It all, they checked it out from every angle, and it all works the same on everybody because we're all humans basically at the end.
Right. Well, I mean, does that still go for like people who have any kind of illness or disease?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that's good.
Yeah. They said there was no.
That makes you feel good.
Right. There was no difference in. Now, what they did say was that the people who got the placebo, they got COVID at the same rate as the general population. The people who got the vaccine did not get COVID at a rate 94.5% less than the general population, which is why they say it's an effective vaccine. And as a matter of fact, they said after you took the first dose, you would become, at least this is the Pfizer vaccine. We're going to see what Moderna is, because Moderna is a different vaccine. But at least the Pfizer one, after 10 days of taking the vaccine, you are 50% less likely to have coronavirus. So it works within 10 days of taking the first shot, and then you're 94% less likely on the second shot.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Biden has selected retired Army General Lloyd Austin, the former commander of the United States Central Command, to be his Secretary of Defense. If he is confirmed, he is going to be the first black man to lead the Department of Defense, the nation's largest government agency. people say, well, what about Colin Powell? Colin Powell was also Secretary of State, but he was never the head of the Defense Department. So this will be the first black man who will be the head of
dope.
Yeah, of the Department of
State. So much diversity in the White House already.
But he was also the Joint Chiefs of all the Army. In the Army, the Navy, they all get together. He was the head guy from the military.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they call it. According to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 67 million coronavirus cases worldwide. 1.5 million people have died. The United Kingdom has started administering the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine, making it the first Western country to start vaccinating. As we said, the United States is going to start vaccinating next week. Today, a man by the name of William Shakespeare, 81 years old, and joined Margaret Keenan, 90, as the second recipient of the vaccine at the same hospital. So this is the first civilian to get the vaccine in the world. And the second guy's name was William Shakespeare. Quite funny, given that it's the United Kingdom.
I was like, wait, like that was his real name?
That was his real name. But wait, you're like, wait a second. Did that guy die like 400 years ago?
Right.
I could have sworn William Shakespeare's dead. Apparently he's alive. In a different person.
The legacy lives on.
The legacy lives on. We said that Giuliani, we said one of his lawyers, the lawyer's name, by the way, is Jenna Ellis. And Jenna Ellis, former associate, she tested positive for the coronavirus during West Wing fears. She was one of Giuliani's associates on that strike force attorney team. But now what appears is that she got it while attending a Christmas party at the White House. So now everybody's scared. Wow. Now the White House was a super spreader event again.
So they actually still had a party.
Yeah, they don't give a crap. You think they give a crap?
That is wild.
You think they give a crap there?
That's wild because I went to the White House for the Christmas party when Obama was there his last year.
Right.
And I know for a fact they would not have done that because it was pretty crowded in a small place.
That's why that was a super spreader event. Nobody was wearing masks, and that's why everyone got sick.
That is crazy.
Crazy. It's tea time for Brad.
Woohoo!
We have
Is Jeremy here?
Matthew McConaughey. You ever hear that guy?
Yes, we do know him.
All right. So in an interview,
definitely know that guy.
In an interview on Russell Brand's podcast, I know who Russell Brand is. He's an English comedian.
Yes.
Matthew McConaughey described himself as aggressively centrist, and he decried the far-left Hollywood political types. The Oscar winner said there are a lot of people of the illiberal left that absolutely condescend, patronize, and are arrogant towards the other 50%. Brand brought up politics when asking about societal condemnation and criticism of ordinary working people. Brand said, there's a kind of offhandedness of like, oh, they're dumb. They're voting for Brexit. They're voting for Trump. I don't like it. I don't like to hear it. McConaughey, who has expressed a budding interest in politics, says the attitude of the far left prevents the two opposing political sides from coming together. I don't think that's what it is. I think that and we've talked about it before, I think the left, they watch and they see on social media, and they watch MSNBC, and they reaffirm what they believe, and they see that people on the right who are voting for Trump are idiots, because that's everything that they get every day, including perhaps even for Brad Show Live. Okay.
Right.
And people who vote for Trump and who are conservatives, they're watching Fox News or perhaps other conservative publications on Facebook, on Twitter. They're getting fed information that conforms to what they believe.
Yeah.
And they see a completely different universe. And what they see is the left is condescending on me, and the left sees information that the right's stupid.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So everybody's being fed information that they want to see. And then it just reaffirms what their own beliefs are.
Exactly, because they have the freedom to choose their source, where they get their news source. So if you're not going to watch a news station where you don't agree with them or you don't like what they're saying, you're going to choose the one that you like, that you agree with. So yeah.
So apparently Matthew McConaughey watches Fox News, because that's why he would come out and say that. If you're watching, MSNBC and you're getting fed news on Facebook that, says that, people who vote for Trump are stupid and uneducated and they're being conned, then that's what you believe. And if you're
Right.
watching conservative stuff, you're saying the liberal people are talking down to us and they think we're stupid and they're condescending and that's what you believe.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the middle of all of that is the truth, to be in reality. And it's just sad that we don't get truth. We just get opinions now from everybody,
Opinions.
including from Brad and Yo-Yo and Vanessa giving opinions too. We all give
Absolutely.
opinions.
Yeah.
Everyone
That's-
doesn't mean to act.
I kind of just got into, I started just talking about the news and I started giving my own opinions. But my opinions are informed by what I see and watch.
At least, when we say, this is our opinion. A lot of the news on Fox, like, they don't really, announce that it's just an opinion based. They just say, like, this is a fact. And that's why that side is so strong, on what they believe, because they really believe that that's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, they believe that there was fraud in the election, and there's been no facts to back that up. Many people believe masks don't prevent you from getting coronavirus, but science says it is. So when you watch CNN and MSNBC, you're like, what are you, stupid? Okay, and Fox News people, they say, they're trying to take away our liberties and, let me be free and let me decide what I want to do and blah, 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 blah. And everybody hears what they want to hear. And that's how that's unfortunate what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Right, Vanessa?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Meanwhile, actor Mario Lopez is set to play the role of KFC mascot Colonel Sanders in a new Lifetime mini movie called A Recipe for Seduction. On Monday, Lifetime announced the unusual casting and shared a poster on Twitter promoting its new original mini movie. It airs this Sunday at noon and is being called a mini movie because it's only 15 minutes long. Yes, the poster features the Saved by the Bell star as a ripped version of the iconic fast food personality, and the tweet reads, "Mark your calendars because Lifetime and KFC have partnered for a Lifetime original mini movie you don't want to miss." The Lifetime original mini movie follows a young Harris as she struggles to pick between a rich suitor selected by her mother and the new house chef, Harlan Sanders, who brings more than his 11 herbs and spices secret recipes to the table. It turns out that KFC, the head of Harlan Sanders, who ended up, I guess was the founder of KFC, in this particular movie is going to have quite a love situation with this woman who is debating on which suitor she should pick. Should she pick the KFC guy, the chef, or the rich suitor? You have to check out the Lifetime movie to find out who she will pick. Who do you think she will pick? I think she will pick Mario Lopez all day long.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's got a hot body and she knows that eventually he's going to be running KFC and he's going to be a rich dude anyway.
Yeah.
Because he has the 11 secret herbs and spices.
All very interesting. Like, is this where our quarantine creativity has taken us? KFC was like, we're going to Lifetime.
All I can tell you is if she's smart, she would see the writing on the wall. This guy's got 11 herbs and spices. He knows how to cook some chicken. He's going to be a huge success, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to go. I don't need to go with the rich
dude. A lot
dude.
of people don't see that in the beginning. You don't see where people are headed. You only care for where they are.
We see that's not smart.
That isn't.
You
Drake
have to.
says that all the time.
And that's not only for women, seeking men, but it's also for men seeking women. You have to say to yourself, where is this person going to be 5 years from now?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be in business. It could be just in anything. Just like, where do you see this person 5 years from now? Can you picture how this person's going to grow? How you're going to grow together? Because if not, you got to be able to use a little ESP in there.
But it's a little harder when you're older. That's kind of like, it's a lot easier to say that when you're young because you have those years to just give out. But when you're older like that, she's probably on a ticking time.
Jenna Giannulli joined the Red Table Talk today to break her silence on her parents' arrest and college admissions scandal. Olivia Jade Giannulli said, "I remember just freezing and feeling so ashamed." In May, Loughlin and Giannulli pled guilty to paying $500,000 to get their two daughters, Jade and Bella, into the University of Southern California as recruits on the crew team. You may remember they put her in a picture at the head of the training for crew. I think they submitted a picture, or maybe even submitted a picture of her on the boat. And she knows as much about being a crew as me, which is zero. Okay,
Right.
I've never rowed a boat in my life. Maybe once, twice, 3 times, maybe.
Uncle Jesse's wife is just messing up. Man.
Right. So it's a lot about a lot of things. Giannulli is serving 5-month sentence for his role in the scandal. And Loughlin had to do 100 community hours of service, 2-month sentence, and was fined $150,000. Co-host Adrienne Banfield Norris shared that she was against Olivia Jade, joining the show, saying, "I just found it really ironic that she chose 3 black women to reach out to for her redemption story. I feel like here we are, white women coming to black women for support when we don't get the same from them." She added,
I agree.
"Her being here is the epitome of white privilege to me. It's not our responsibility to raise her consciousness."
I agree.
Wow.
And that's
very tough.
And that's Jada Pinkett's mother that said that.
Yeah, that's very tough.
And I agree with that.
Do you think she said it because she believes it?
First of all,
or are they just trying to make a big controversy? I mean, that's the first thing. I'm like, are they trying to make a big controversy, or they really believe what they're saying?
They always want things to have red table talk.
They believe it.
The mom does.
The mom does.
That's Jada Pinkett's mother. Yeah. She believes that.
Okay.
This one.
Yeah.
First of all, she's gorgeous. For her to be...
How old is she? How old is she, by the way? How old is she? I mean, she's... How does she have Jada Pinkett Smith? I mean, she looks like as young as Jada Pinkett Smith, maybe.
Exactly, and her body is ridiculous as well. But that's beside the point. But I agree with her. Red Table Talk. They brought this show to kind of give a platform for 61. A lot of she's 61.
Wow.
And fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like she said, for a white woman or white girl to come to 3 black women and ask for help when black women can't go to white women and they don't offer that type of help for them. So, but she did say once she came on and she pled her case and she's talked to her, she said she wasn't trying to Olivia Jade. She said that she wasn't trying to be victimized and all that. That's when, the mother, Jada's mother, actually said, okay, now I understand it. But I wasn't mad at what she said because I understand that white privilege, for 3 black women to have that platform that they built on their own, and you're kind of helping her. That's Jordan Woods came on to their show because everybody was talking mess about her for flirting with Khloe Kardashian's baby daddy. So that was a platform for a black child, a black young lady to use. They built that platform for them. So then for a little white girl to come and say, hey, help me out too.
She's 67. I had the wrong search. She's 67 because Jada's about to be 50. She had her at 17.
Wow.
She's almost 70?
Yeah. Wow.
I
just did some.
Yo-Yo wants a date.
Yeah, that's some good genes.
Yeah, Yo-Yo wants a date with either one. He'll take either one.
What? Absolutely.
Meanwhile, I just have to say what Olivia Jade said. She said on the show, "I feel a huge part of having privilege is not knowing you have privilege. I was in my own little bubble, focusing on my own comfortable world, and I never had to look outside of that bubble," which is probably very true. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.